Hello, students. Today we'll begin with the third part of the chapter, The Tiger King of Vistas, of Vistas book, which is written by Kalki. Now, last time in the part 2, I told you that when he was young and he was fed by an English nanny, he was tutored in English by an Englishman, and he saw English movies. And when he became of the age 20, he became the king of Pratibandhapuram, and hence later on he started killing the tigers, and he killed his first tiger, and he showed his first killed tiger to the straight astrologer, and he told that he has killed his first tiger over here, and he told that he can kill in such a way, and he can easily kill in 99 tigers, the rest of the 99 tigers also. But the straight astrologer didn't seem much convinced with that, and he was up what he had studied about astrology, and according to him it was something which was not possible. But just because he was a king, and he was talking to the king, the astrologer was talking to the king, and that is why he said ki in such a situation, if my whatever I've predicted, if something goes wrong, I'll cut off my tuft, I'll cut off my lock of hair, bunch of hair, and I'll become an insurance agent. By this point of thing, we just this is all that was taught. I taught in part 2. Now let's move in ahead in part 3, and we'll move ahead in this part 3, and let's see what's written over here. So from that day onwards, it was celebration time for all the tigers inhabiting or actually dwelling in Pratibandhapuram. Why it was a moment of celebration time? Because actually no one in this particular kingdom of Pratibandhapuram actually could kill tigers. Only the person allowed to kill tigers was the king of Pratibandhapuram. The tiger king only could kill the tigers. No other person in the whole kingdom could actually kill the tiger over here. So from that day onwards, it was celebration time for all the tigers dwelling in Pratibandhapuram. The stay inhabiting means dwelling in Pratibandhapuram, living in Pratibandhapuram. Now the state, this whole kingdom actually banned the tiger hunting by anyone. It's written by anyone except the Maharaja. Only Maharaja was allowed to kill the tigers, and no one else was allowed to kill the tigers in the kingdom of Pratibandhapuram. A proclamation was issued, a legal notice, official declaration was made on behalf of the king, that it was issued to the effect that if anyone dared even to fling so much as a stone at a tiger. Fling means, my dear students, throw a stone at a tiger. In such a situation, all the wealth of any such person and property would be confiscated, all would be seized, all the property would be seized by the kingdom. And in such a situation, if even a small stone could be thrown on any of the tigers, so in such a situation, the property of such a man would be confiscated. It would be taken into custody, seized by the kingdom of Pratibandhapuram. By the king, you can say in this way also. Now let's move ahead in the next paragraph. So the Maharaja vowed, he took an oath that he would attend to all the other matters of the kingdom only after killing the 100 tigers only. So he was so determined that he wanted to kill all the 100 tigers, as it was told that there can be a chance that the 100 tiger can kill him also. So he just made up his mind. So he was so determined that he wanted to kill all the 100 tigers, and that is why he took an oath over here. He vowed over here, he took an oath over here, as written over here. He would attend to all other matters of the kingdom only after the killing of the 100 tigers is over actually. Now, initially, in the beginning, at the first, what happened, the king seemed well set to realize his ambition. He knew what he had to do. He realized what his aim was. He wanted to kill the tigers, and that's it. Not that he faced no dangers. It doesn't seem so ki you are facing a tiger, you simply go and just kill a tiger. It's so easy. It's not so. There were times when the bullet misses mark. There were times when he took an aim by a gun, and he shot a wanted to shoot a tiger, but it actually the bullet missed its mark and the bullet didn't actually hit the tiger. There had been such moments. Now, the tiger, in such a situation, the tiger leapt onto him and the tiger pounced on him in such a situation, and he fought with the beast. He fought with that wild tiger in such a situation with his bare hands. My dear students, here it means actually without any weapon. Actually, the Tiger King actually fought with those tigers with bare hands in such a situation when the bullets even left. And did not hit the mark. The bullet did not hit the tiger in such a situation. And each time it was the Maharaja who won. It was every time the Maharaja who actually got won actually. At another point of time, he was in a danger of losing his throne even. There was a time in his life that he was even in a danger that his kingdom could actually be lost and go into the hands of the Britishers. Now, high-ranking British officers visited Pratibandhapuram. We come to know a high-ranking British officer came over there, and he was very fond of hunting tigers, and he was also fond of being photographed with the dead tiger. Earlier, people, when used to kill tigers or lions, it was something on behalf of such hunters that they used to shoot a pic of themselves over the dead carcass of such a animal, that to show themselves that they are too brave, and they shot the tiger. Now, as usual, this particular British officer was also was fond of killing tigers and being shot a pic with the dead tiger. Now, as usual, he wished to hunt tigers in Pratibandhapuram, and with this aim of hunting tigers in Pratibandhapuram, this British actually officer wanted to kill over there. But the Maharaja was firm in his resolve. The Maharaja was firm in his determination. What he had made up his mind that he would not let anyone kill tigers in Pratibandhapuram. It would be only the Tiger King only that he would be killing the tigers, and no one else would be allowed. No matter whoever the person is, would not be allowed to kill tigers in Pratibandhapuram. So he refused permission, and that is why he was in a danger of losing his throne, just because he had went against the Britishers. And we know that before independence of India, so India was in the hands of the Britishers. So we come to know that he was in a moment of in a danger zone actually of losing his throne. Now so that is why he refused permission, and he said, I can organize any other hunt whichever any hunter, any such person would love to. This British officer, if he likes, so I can organize any other hunt. You make your own boar hunt. If you want to kill bears in Pratibandhapuram, we are up to it. You can kill bears over here. If you want, you may conduct a mouse hunt. If you want to kill a mouse, you can kill even a mouse. But what's written ahead? We are ready for a mosquito hunt. Even you can come over here and you can kill mosquitoes over here also, my dear students. But tiger hunt, that's impossible. According to the Tiger King, it was impossible for the British officer to come over there and actually do the tiger hunting. Now, this was something given, and that might have provoked certainly the British officer, and that would have gone something against this Tiger King. And in such a situation, the Britishers would have attacked Pratibandhapuram in such a situation. Now, the British officer secretary sent word to the Maharaja through the Diwan. Diwan, when we say Diwan over here, the Diwan over here means actually the minister, or you can say chief minister, you can say. So the Maharaja through the Diwan that the Durai himself did not have to kill the tiger. Durai means over here the British officer. Durai actually is a term of in Madrasi language, and it means over here chief leader or the main leader over here. And here it's written over here that the Durai himself did not have to kill the tiger. There is no need to kill tigers by the British officer. The Maharaja could do the actual killing. What was important for the Durai was a photograph of himself holding the gun and standing over the tiger's carcass. What this particular British officer was wanting that he wanted actually to be a pig to be shot with the dead tiger, and the tiger can be shot by the Tiger King, and then he can have the pig with the dead tiger in such a situation. But the Maharaja would not agree to even that, even to his proposal, even to this proposal. And if he relented now, if he refused now, what would he do if the other British officers turn in the same manner? Now, this was one British officer doing one such thing, and there can be other British officers who would be wanting to have hunting of tigers, and they also want to be shot with the dead tigers in such a way. They can also come over there to ask the killing of tigers in such a situation, and then it would be havoc, and the Tiger King wouldn't be able to complete his vow over there, his oath of killing 100 tigers. Now, because he prevented a British officer from fulfilling his desire, the Maharaja stood in the danger of losing his kingdom. Certainly, it was before independence, it was the time of the Britishers who were ruling in India, and in such a situation, when you go against the Britishers, there is a chance of losing the throne, there is a chance of losing the kingdom in such a situation, and that is why the Maharaja and the Diwan held deliberations over this issue. Deliberations means long, careful discussion over this particular issue. Now, as a result, a telegram was dispatched forthwith. A telegram, my dear students, is actually a message which was sent by a telegraph, and then it was delivered in written format or printed form, and it was dispatched forthwith immediately to the person which the person wanted actually. So, to a famous, here when we are reading over here, so as a result, a telegram was dispatched. It was dispatched forthwith immediately. Dispatched forthwith means immediately to a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta. And the message was given as send samples of expensive diamond rings of different designs. This was the message sent as a telegram to Calcutta to the person to send some lovely diamond rings to a lovely British company of jewelers. Now, in such a situation, my dear students, some 50 kings arrived in Pratibandhapuram. The Maharaja sent the whole lot to the British officers. Good lady. Good lady means over here the wife of the British officer. The king and the minister expected the Durai Sani to choose one or two rings and send the rest back. Durai Sani means, my dear students, the wife of the British officer. As I told you, this was a Tamilian word. So again, this is a Tamilian word, Durai Sani. So the wife of the British officer, Durai Sani. It's not the name; they are the titles, you can say. So the king and the minister expected the Durai Sani to choose one or two rings and send the rest back. So they wanted the wife of this British officer to choose one or two, three rings, whichever the British officer's good lady thinks that this is a lovely ring, she should be keeping, and then the rest would be returned. Within no time at all, the Durai Sani sent her reply, thank you very much for your gifts. Durai Sani means, again, the wife of the British officer sent her the reply of thanks that thank you for all these lovely gifts of about 50 diamond rings. And we come to know that all the 50 rings were accepted, 50 diamond rings were accepted by the British officer's good lady, and she had accepted it. Now, this was a moment actually to take this British officer into his favor by the Tiger King. This was done so. Now, in a 2 day, a bill of about 3 lakh rupees before, my dear student, this is not 3 lakh rupees of today, this is 3 lakh rupees before, much before the independence. So you can just imagine the value would be in today's time in much crores of rupees, might be. So in 2 days, a bill of 3 lakh rupees came from the British jewelers, and the Maharaja was happy that though that he had lost 3 lakh rupees, he had managed somehow to retain or to keep possession of his kingdom actually. So he was able to save his kingdom by giving the 50 rings, although he lost 3 lakh rupees at that point of time, which was very much for the Tiger King, but somehow he was able to save, the Tiger King was able to save his whole kingdom going into the hands of the British Empire. In this way, we come to the end of the part 3, my dear students, of the chapter Tiger King written by Kalki. Thank you.